back, holding you back from touching the sky? What's holding you back? You gotta fly like an eagle and go high. What's holding you back, from touching the sky? Oh, holding you back, you finally gotta reach for the sky. I was born to succeed, not to be a spoken or real. Told myself there's more to this than just waking up when I feel. So I made a commitment to turn my earnings up. Couldn't see myself as an employee that still couldn't. Looked in the mirror, saw a spark in my eye. Knew I had to hustle and stop living a lie. I packed my dreams in a suitcase, took the first train. I'm headed for the horizon with success is no doubt. What's holding you back, from touching the sky? What's holding you back? You gotta fly like an eagle and go high. What's holding you back, from touching the sky? Oh, holding you back, you finally gotta reach for the sky.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of What's Holding You Back? Absolutely nothing. Greetings. My name is Rob McCray from the Business Building Network.
And I'm Christine Allen from Clear Ambitions, Mentors and Speakers. Good evening, everyone. Good day across the whole globe. What's holding you back? I'm excited about today's conversation. If you missed it last week, well, go ahead and watch the replay. It was great. We had a lot of fun, interactive with everyone who just interacted with us. We appreciate if you are still not yet in the chat, Rob, you would say.
Yes.
I really encourage you to come on in and have that interaction with us. It was a really great conversation.
Yes, it really was. We really enjoyed our session last week as we talked about our different personality types. And if our personalities are responsible for the courses of action in which we take in our lives. So yes, that was a very interesting subject matter in which we discussed last week. And if you missed it, as Christine said, please go back to both of our YouTube channels and make sure you watch it. Christine's YouTube channel is Clear Ambitions, and my YouTube channel is Rob McCray Networking. So we are very excited for the subject matter in which we're going to be speaking about today. And that's going to be, would you relive any years of your life? Yes, this should be very interesting, Christine.
After 20s, 100%.
Yes. So we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. But we just want to greet you and welcome you to being a part of the broadcast this afternoon, this evening, this morning, depending on where in the world you are watching us from. We are so delighted to have you with us. And as you're jumping on board, just leave us a comment in the chat. We would love to acknowledge you and welcome you to What's Holding You Back. So as we always like to do when we start off our program, we like to start off with a little word of inspiration. And today, being that we're talking about, would you want to relive any parts of your life? We're going to have a quote to coincide with that. So Christine, if you will.
When you make a mistake, there are only 3 things to do. You should never do these 3 things. So when you make a mistake, there are only 3 things you should ever do about it. All right? So I was right in the first place. When you make a mistake, there are 3 things that you should do about it. Admit it.
Right.
Learn from it. And don't repeat it.
Don't you dare. Yes, that is the key. Admit it. Take accountability of it. Learn from it. So what? You don't repeat it again. And that is so key. So oftentimes, many people were not willing to admit our mistakes, our faults, and we're not willing to have admission of some of the mistakes in which we have done in our lives, then we're never going to be able to learn from it because we're not taking accountability from it. So that is key. We have to admit it, and then we can learn from it, and then we can assure that we don't make that same mistake in the future. So we have a couple of people that have commented in the chat. We would love to welcome them. First, we have my beautiful wife, Sister Althea. Greetings and bless you, and thank you for joining us here on What's Holding You Back. And of
Wow.
course, the one and only my pastor, Pastor Fred Pinnock from the Dominion Worship Center in Patterson, New Jersey. God bless you, Pastor, and thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, good evening, Pastor Fred from Dominion Center. Yes, New Jersey is getting more warm, isn't it? Because it's sunny. Was it sunny today?
No, we actually having a rainy day. It's still raining, but you
Okay.
know, we need those rain showers to bring forth the flowers in this month of May. So yes, we are not complaining.
You certainly do. Hello, hello, Althea. And we have, of course, some folks that are regulars that will come in probably shortly. But
Mhm.
I like the topic. What would you relive? What era? What decade would
Yeah.
you relive in our lives? And I'm just the reality that you've just kindly highlighted is that too bad you can't go back. So we talked about that, right? The essence of time.
Yes. Yes.
Essence of time. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to say my 20s, and my why is I would have stuck to school. Sometimes when you're, oh, it's 5 years for this course.
Mhm.
Please. Yeah. You got nothing else to do in your 20s, right?
Productively. Yes.
Productively. Yeah, true. Productively.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have stuck out the journey,
Okay. All right.
education.
As Christine mentioned, let's go in 10-year increments. So
Yep.
if there is a 10-year span in your life in which you had the ability to go back and relive, what time frame or 10-year span would that be? Would it be from 0 to 10? Would it be from 10 to 20? Would it be from 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, so on and so forth? So, life is a constant learning process.
Yeah.
We continue to make mistakes, but like the quote says, as long as we are willing to admit it and learn from it, then we can take the proper steps to ensure that we don't continue to make those same mistakes. So, what years would you say, what 10-year span would you say, if you had the ability to go back in time to make some subtle changes, nothing major, but just some of your decision making processes, what time span would you go back to? And Christine, you say your 20s?
20s. The
Yeah.
whole decade.
Right, right, right. I think that's going to be the majority of people's time span that they would try to go back and make those changes. For me,
Okay.
it would be from 20s to 30s. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. Oh, Pastor Fred says from 10 to 20,
Oh,
we're involved in sports.
okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
youth. Wow. 10 to
Interesting.
20.
All right. All right. All right. So, Pastor Fred, I have a good idea of why you chose that time frame. I'm not going to speak on it now, but I'll speak to you in private about that. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. We have Yvette Bolden from Bold Nutritions and Consulting. Blessings, my sis. So good to
Hello, Yvette.
yes, yes, yes. So Yvette, we're talking about if you had the ability to relive a time period, a 10-year time period in your life,
Mhm.
what 10 years would that be? 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, so on and so forth. So, what years would those be for you if you had the ability to go back and make some different decisions in your life? Mhm. All right. So yes, for me, it would definitely be from ages 20 to 30. Reason being, um, those are the, I would say, the most pivotal times in our lives. Wow, Yvette says 10 to 20 also. Wow, interesting. Interesting. Yvette, you care to elaborate on that in the chat? I would love to hear why you chose those years. But for me, 20 to 30s, just coming out of high school, 18, went into the military directly after high school. And when I got out of the military, I was 23, 24, somewhere about.
Mhm.
Then I started my first business, which was a unisex salon. So if I had to do it all over again, I probably would not have gone that route.
Oh,
Reason being that, you know, any type of business, especially a brick and mortar storefront type of business, you have to put so much time into the business that you really don't have a lot of time to spend time with your family. And during that time period is when my two sons were born. And my sons lived in Virginia and I lived in New Jersey. So it was already hard for me to get back and forth to spend time with them. But now that I had a business in place as well, I had to put so much time into the business that uh, it stunted my ability to spend more times with my kids. And that is one of the biggest regrets that I have in life because I miss most of my kids' childhood because
oh,
that was, the most important time in their lives and for me as well. So with that, knowing
mhm.
what I know now, I probably would have went in a different direction.
So that's very transparent, and thank you for sharing that, Robin. And a lot of folks can relate to. There's always tomorrow. There's always
Mm,
tomorrow, and so many tomorrows have come and gone, and here we are. So you really taking a deep dive. I'm thinking, what am I wasting time on now? And I
mhm.
want Rob to come ask me what you know what I mean next year this time. Okay,
Right.
what would you have relived? It would be like, oh, May 2025. Hello. So
Mm,
let's really take a reality check of their, let's take an inventory, if you will. What are you wasting time on now? What's
yes.
your, I'll do it tomorrow,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So you
Yep.
have me thinking there because it's so true. It's children, you
Oh,
got 1 year olds that they say, oh, every month. I know someone who took a picture of a child once a month from birth to 1 year because it's changed so drastically.
right.
And
Right.
yeah, they changed so drastically, and they rapid growth, but the time just turns around. You think, oh, tomorrow, 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 and then 20 years later, you're
Come on.
having 30 years later, right?
Yeah.
Um,
It goes
it
by so quick.
and so a lot of it is what's. Do you think something was holding you back then? What was holding you back?
From what?
Like you spoke about the brick and mortar, which is something that I've always been shy about doing the brick and mortar because I don't think you'd be able even to go on a vacation during
That
that
that's
time,
that's another thing. Yes. Yeah.
right? You had no personal time. You wrap up, the days blend. Sundays and Mondays are the same as Wednesdays and Thursdays, and
Hmm.
you don't have time. I've seen that with especially with the demands of mechanic shops have that
Hmm.
dynamic as well, where you basically sunrise to sunset to sun up kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, but what was holding you back aside from the demands of the business? Could you think of anything else?
No, that was the major factor. I had to really invest so much time into the business and being there to make sure that things were being done properly and
Mm-hmm.
the way that I wanted it to be done. So, had to be structure in place. And I was not comfortable with leaving the business for long periods of time and not seeing what's going on because I knew that, problems would arise. And then, it would just take a lot of times to get back on track. So that was the biggest issue with me having a brick and mortar business. So now, knowing what I know now, we're in a digital age, and
Mhm.
AI is taking over. So everything is pretty much automated.
Yeah.
So to go into a brick and mortar type of business for me,
Mhm.
that's not an option because it's just too
Mhm.
time. You have to put so much time into it and can't beat the clock. Father Time is undefeated.
Mhm.
I thought that I could just work my way through it and, just kind of, I don't know, somehow defeat the clock and overwork that time in a day. But I soon found out when, my health went down, I just kept getting sick all the time. I'm
Yeah.
like, why is that? Because you're not giving your body rest to replenish and recoup. And so I was just beaten down. My immune system was weakened so bad that I just kept getting sick. And I was like, I didn't understand it. But after a while, when I, really understood what was going on, then I said, okay, if you're not giving your body the proper rest, nourishments, what it needs, then it's going to take its toll. And eventually your body's going to shut down on you and make you take that time out to get some rest. So, yeah,
Even in your 20s, you got sick?
yes,
Wow,
yes,
you were going hard then, because that's
yeah,
your
yeah.
prime of your life.
Because at that time, I was also working a full time job as well. So it was
And
from
you had the barbershop?
to the hair salon, to the full time job, to the hair salon. Can't beat the clock.
No, you didn't have no time at all to do nothing.
No. Mm-mm.
Mm. So the rewards, what was the rewards? Like you had, you were rich.
No, I wouldn't say that. Far from that. Well, with any business, especially in the first year or two, it's rough. So if you can just pay your bills,
Yeah.
you're kind of ahead of the game.
Mm.
So the first 2 years, that was the case. I had to work the full-time job to pay some of the bills for the business until the business can catch up.
Oh,
Then
I
by
see.
year two and so forth, then the business started to pick up and run, it maintain itself. I left the full-time job, but still I had to invest that time back into the business now
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it started to flourish and I didn't want to see it come back down. So I had to keep
Mhm.
time into it, feeding it, nourishing it, helping me grow and develop. So that's all a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot when you think of the again the time that you can't take back and what you woulda, shoulda, could have done. I says, okay, I'm thinking to myself, I'm seriously going to take an inventory now. I would challenge everyone as a homework. And once I will be back, we always said that we were going to give homework. We haven't given any homework in a while. Your
Hmm.
homework is to really take a personal inventory. What are you wasting your time on? And
Please.
that's a scary thing because the stuff that you're wasting your time on, and if you admit it, guess what? You like you said, you gotta don't do it again, or you gotta change. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Right.
When you know that it's not as it's not serving you,
Hmm.
where does that come into that change now? Um, and making that change is much easier than said.
Yes. Much easier said than done. Absolutely. All right. So
Much
let's look.
easier said than done. There you go. I'm tired
Yeah.
too. So
So Pastor Fred says, all of I think my life, I have been involved in church activities. Yes. Understand that, man of God. So yes, your whole life was revolving around church and church activities. So yes, I totally get that. Okay, so Yvette from Bold Nutrition says, well, I was young and carefree at that age period, and it was awesome.
good for you.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm quite sure you were living the life, but in hindsight, when you look back at it now, I, I I'm thinking you're saying that you could have been doing things that were more productive into enabling you to have a brighter future instead of just having a good time. Am I correct in that, sis?
She said it was awesome.
Mhm. Well, she's talking about the years in which she would go back and change, right? And she said the 10 to 20, and she was saying
Oh,
free, and it was awesome. We're kids. We don't have no responsibilities. We're just living the life, right? But
mm,
as we mature and we get a little older, we start to develop some responsibilities. Like, okay, now I got to be more serious, more focused.
mhm,
What do I want to do with my life? I can't just be out here having a good time. No, I got to put some things in order so I can build towards my future. So I think that's the point in which she's making.
okay.
All
I,
right.
I guess she'll let us know. And all my life, I've been involved in church activities. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes you just become a part of that. That's your life, and
Right.
and your legacy. So
Mhm.
if that's the case, there's so many different areas in which if you stick with a one theme, if you will, because some folks reinvent themselves
Yeah.
over and over again. So
Hmm.
many careers, moving to different countries, and that's a different path. It's a great one too, I would imagine.
Oh yeah.
To never a dull moment, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, having one theme, if you will, one path your entire life, it does become your legacy. So that's the
Absolutely.
side of that as well.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So let me pose this question to you guys. So, what were some bad decisions that you made in yesteryear in which you have learned from and they have now helped you in your current state of being? So, what are some things that you learned from and now you rectified it, made different choices, and now you're starting to see the fruits of your labor?
Mm.
What would some of those choices be for you, or some of those bad decisions have been for you?
That's
Like
a
I
tough
said,
one.
uh, with doing the business at such a young age, not having any experience with business, um, not having a proper management system in place,
Hmm.
that was a bad decision on my behalf. So
Okay.
from that, I've learned that if I ever were to have a brick and mortar type of business,
Hmm.
I would have a management team in place so that I would not have to be there full time basis to manage and watch over the business. You know,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that one thing I definitely learned from previous mistakes or bad decisions.
One thing I've learned from is I I would give myself more time. I gave a lot of my time away when I was younger. A lot of my time away.
You know,
So so in hindsight, the things that I I'm saying now that I could have done, I'm doing a review and I'm like, okay, well, if I
hmm
didn't do X, then I would have been able to do that. But it's something that truly is a hindsight. You don't, when you're in it, you don't know, you keep going, everything's blended. So I'm sure you didn't even have time to realize how why you were getting sick, because Rob, you were just going,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So it's a really good thing that if someone's young and watching this broadcast right now on what's holding you back, seriously sit and take a couple of days, map out your time. There is a timeline that I literally, you map out the hours, so you have 24.
Hmm.
lines on there. How much time do you spend sleeping? How much time do you spend eating? And where your success is wrapped up in your daily routine. It's
Oh,
not your goals. So you have your goals, and I'm going to do this, and I have your milestones. But that drip effect, that routine, is where you end up one foot at a time, one
mhm.
step at a time to get towards your goals. So what are you doing every day? And
Yes.
you find out years later why you're still in the same spot,
There it
or
is.
maybe not. You
Yep.
know,
Yep. Yep. So true. So true.
maybe not. Maybe not. I could say your personal growth as well, Rob. Just the years I've known you as well.
I
It's
appreciate.
tremendous.
Yes. And you hit on something that's very important. You said that the one thing that you are aware of and conscious of now, that you're giving a lot of your time away. And brothers and sisters, I say this to you. It is so important that you understand that your time is your most valuable asset or resource. You cannot give it away. Instead, you need to invest that time into yourself, your growth, your development, and invest that time into others who are ready, willing, and able to produce results. And you know that they are able and willing to start producing results by their actions, not from the words coming out of their mouth. People are going to tell you all the time, "Yeah, I'm ready. I want to make this move. I want to see positive results. I want to make changes in my life." But you will know them by the actions in which they're taking. You will know them by the fruits in which they bear. So, everybody can talk a good game, but when it comes down to it, what are you doing?
Yes. Yeah, well said. Well said. It's a situation where you folks will say, well, when I get to 60s, 70s, 80s, that's when you talk about, oh, time is precious. But as you're speaking, we just said it. Our in our 20s, times was precious. Doesn't matter how old you are.
We just didn't realize it.
Right.
We
Because
took it for
usually
granted.
this kind of conversation that's for the folks, you know what I mean? On
Right.
retirement land or in retirement street.
Yep.
So, but time is precious,
Man,
we just admitted it. I was thinking when you were speaking, I was like, hey, in the 20s, it was precious.
we just didn't understand it. We
You
didn't.
know, understand it.
We didn't. What's the word? We didn't value it.
I don't know. What did we, what, I don't know if we had the mindset to even recognize it. That was like
Yeah.
back in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, learning the moonwalk, Roger Rabbit. Who had time? You know what I mean? Like Yvette said, having a good time.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I don't know.
Christine, you was moonwalking. Mm.
No,
Let me see. Let me see. I can see it now. Oh gosh.
listen. We had like Yvette said, we had a good time. That was
Those were the
before my
best.
20s. I'm telling you, but we never had a mindset about, oh, we're wasting time and what the case may be. What um, so a lot of just yeah, a lot of the events that we went to, we
Mm-hmm.
were a lot of times, especially young moms. I was a young mom in my 20s,
Oh yeah.
right? So it was survival mode, and I had to make a choice whether or not I was going to go into what my passion was, or really what it went to corporate. I decided to go into corporate, and I have a passion for business as well.
Okay.
Uh, so I decided to go into corporate, but and that even itself, being intentional
Mm-hmm.
of not wanting to live off the government, to be frank, not wanting to, um, you know, be on their budget, right? So I spent being intentional, um, with just being a corporate mom, making sure that I always had that laser focus. Come to think of it, I
Yeah.
knew that what I didn't want.
Okay.
I didn't focus so much on what I did want, which
Mm.
was another topic for another time. But I knew what I didn't want,
Right.
and I didn't want to be limited, um, in so many different ways. And one of the ways was how much money I could make, and so,
Great.
and
Yeah.
I knew that the government puts a cap on you, especially as young moms.
Hmm.
You can only make so much, and then you get this benefit, but then you have, anyway. So that's the thing. And I thought, and after being in corporate for a while, it's like, if I had my degree when I was 30 and I was 40 and I had my degree, then could have been making X amount, because
Yes.
how it is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But
We live and we learn.
you live and you learn. You live
Mhm.
and you learn, definitely. It's been a really great conversation about what you would relive. It's making me appreciate the now. And I'm seriously going to do the inventory
Yes.
on the now.
We all should. And for those of you listening, participating, and being a part of the broadcast, I want to encourage you to really take that inventory of your life and look back at yesteryear and what transpired for you. Look at some of the decisions in which you made during the course of your life and what things you now know that you should have done differently. So then you take those choices, those decisions,
Mhm.
you share them with your kids, your friends, your family, and your loved ones.
So important.
They can learn from your mistakes so they don't have to go through it for themselves.
So
Right?
important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward for anyone who wants to share next week, if they really did their inventory, or if there's anything that, they know for sure
Yes.
they want to change or they need to change. So we're not in 2026 saying, yeah, I could have
Um,
went.
all right.
There's some investments. I'm telling you, talk about
Mm-hmm.
what I would have changed when I heard about bottled water coming on the horizon.
Mm.
And I
Did
was
you?
like, oh, I
Okay.
heard about it. And I was like, I'm not paying for water, but I can get out,
Right.
right? And walk in that kitchen and get me some.
Everybody buys bottled water.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would have turned back the hands of time on that one.
Yes.
Um, and I missed the boat.
Things. So many things. Yeah. The
Missed the
.com.
boat.
Oh, so many things.
I
Oh,
missed the boat on Dollar Tree investment,
yeah.
thinking, you know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the two big ones.
Yeah. So looking at it now. So listen,
Mhm.
as Christine is saying, those things we missed out on, that thing now is AI.
Okay, then.
Yes. So
Right.
if you are not invested in it in some kind of way, you need
Mhm.
to study it, and make sure you're being a part of it because it is not going anywhere. It's just going to continue to grow and expand, and you see it all over the place. Even
Mhm.
place the stores we go into with the self checkout, even in the big companies like Amazon now they got the robots doing the work. So it's not going anywhere. So you need to learn these technologies for yourself,
Yeah. Who's
learn how
making the chips?
to implement them and use them in whatever you're doing, because
Hmm.
soon the workforce is going to really start to dwindle down to nothing. And if you don't have some type of way of enabling AI and using it to your advantage, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to make a living for yourself. So, yeah, just putting it out there. But, we have to take the time out to understand it, research it, and really understand what's going on and how this is going to be the future and how we can use it to our advantage.
Absolutely. So we have some homework to do, the inventory, and to find out what's our next investment, so
Hmm.
we don't miss the boat.
That's right.
Don't miss the boat on that one. There's a lot to say as far as even the fashions that come and go.
Hmm.
Um, investments in certain things, certain vintage items. Like I was looking in my treasure box,
Mm-hmm.
and I have some $1 bills, the ones that are out of print. I'm looking at the $1 bills, and these are things that, I'm just a tidbit. You can go back and there's coins that are worth thousands of dollars.
Yes.
So you find that penny, that coin,
Mm-hmm.
you pick it up, and it's worth thousands of dollars.
Right.
So those are things that we can sit on. But I say that to say this in regards to investment. That's another way of investing. So anything that that is going out of print,
Mm-hmm.
books that like some books, Rob, in the 80s that I have, they're no longer in print.
Okay.
So look out for those books that are no longer in print. You might be sitting on something if you have an attic, you know, to go on up there and look and see and put those things away. So years past, there's a lot magazines, stamps, they're
Mm-hmm.
all those vintage items.
Nice. Nice. Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it, Christine. So
So
yes.
that's one thing I did right.
So,
That's one thing I did right. That's one thing I did right. I saved stuff. I'm not a hoarder. Okay.
yes. That
House
is
is
good.
and spacious, but I'm telling
Mhm.
you, magazines that went out of print, like Essence magazines, Ebony ladies, you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Essence magazines, original print, with Ebony magazines. Yeah, kept those albums, the vinyls, original albums, and so forth. So
Right.
now I'm thinking about it, I don't feel so bad. My 20s run out. I saved some stuff.
Yes. Yes. Ages like fine wine.
Mm-hmm. So I
All
did
right.
that right.
Good. 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 All right. Yes. So really enjoyed the conversation this afternoon, Christine, and I hope our listening and viewing audience enjoyed it as well, and you took away some good points from it. So we just want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this edition of What's Holding You Back. And on behalf of Christine Allen from Clear Ambitions, my name is Rob McCray from the Business Building Network. And we want to encourage you to subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. Christine's is Clear Ambitions, and my YouTube channel is Rob McCray Networking. So, family, be blessed. Have a wonderful Wednesday and
Yes.
rest of your week.
We'll see you next week on What's Holding You Back, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
From touching the sky or holding you back, you finally gotta reach for the sky. I was born to succeed, not to be a spoken word. This than just waking up when I feel, so I made a commitment to turn my earnings up. Couldn't see myself as an employee that still couldn't. Looked in the mirror, saw a spark in my eye. Knew I had to hustle and stop living a lie. I packed my dreams in a suitcase, took the first train out, headed for the horizon with success is no doubt. What's holding you back?